Here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again. I am JT, aka the Master, and as you see in my background, this is For No Reason Fantasy Football. I'm sporting my Jerome Ford team jersey today. It's Christmas Eve, people. Have Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to all. Okay. And health and happiness to you and yours. And hopefully it's a joyous occasion. My wife and I are sick. This is the second year in a row that we are sick, dealing with some type of illness. And consider yourself fortunate, people, that you're healthy. If you're healthy, and your family members are healthy. That's a blessing in itself. Trust me, that's a blessing in itself that you can live to see another holiday such as Christmas, Christmas Eve, Christmas, whatever, and that your fellow family members, regardless of where they lie within your family structure, whether it's your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your aunt, your uncle, sister, brother, niece, nephew, wherever they stand in the structure of your family, consider it's a blessing that you're able to share holidays such as Christmas or such as in this holiday season, and getting to the new year in a healthy and happy way. Okay. Being that as it may, this is week 16, people. This is week 16. Now, I started off cerebral, but I'm not going to be ending this show like that because I'm excited. I'm pumped up. This is fantasy football season. This is money time, playoff time. This is time where the rubber, and I'm going to be old school, where the rubber hits the road. We put up or shut up. You talk a whole bunch of smack. If you're the type of person, you talk a whole bunch of smack during the season. And if you're fortunate enough to get into the playoffs with that talking the smack and backing it up, now it's the time. This is the semifinals for most leagues in fantasy football. One step away from the championship round. One step away. Okay, hopefully, and I'm saying this. Hopefully, some of the things, and I'm not saying all of them, some of the things that I have expressed to you over the season, over the fantasy football season, helped you get to this point. Hopefully, if not, I apologize. I'm trying to do the best I can with the information that I have and the knowledge that I'm trying to give to you. I'm trying to do my best to give you an opportunity. I told you in the beginning of the season, my goal was to get you into the playoffs. Well, if you're in that playoffs, my goal now is to get you a championship. I don't care. You can be in the same league with me. I give this information freely. I give this information freely because I love fantasy football with a passion, people. I love it with a passion. And I want to share what I have learned over the years with you. I wanted to share what I've learned over the years with you. Some of it good, some of it bad. I can't say that I'm exactly perfect, but I try to be as perfect as possible. I try to give you the best information that's going to give you the best opportunity to get a win each week. And that includes this week to get you to the championship. That includes this week. I got at least one that you may not have thought of, one that may be sitting on your waiver wire. If he is, I don't know why, because I've been talking about this guy since the beginning of the season, before the season started. He should not be on anybody's waiver wire. But if he is, you need to go grab him. I'm gonna get to, when I get to that game, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you. You need to grab him. Okay? Without a doubt. Trust me when I say this. I'm only trying to give you the best information that I feel that can benefit you. Not benefit me, but I do. The information I give you is the same information that I have that I use myself. I don't just say this and then go the opposite direction. I don't do that. I keep it 100%. 100% of what I tell you is what I try to accomplish myself. Now, there's players in the leagues that I'm in may not be on a waiver wire, but I'm telling you, if they are, you go grab them because they're going to benefit you. I told you about Demarcus Robinson last week, and he gave you at least 15 fantasy points in PPR. I told you about them. I gave you one sleeper in the first round, and that was Demarcus Robinson. And hopefully you kept him on your lineup and you used him again because he gave you at least 20 fantasy points. Okay? At least 20 fantasy points. A solid with a hot quarterback and a hot offense in the Los Angeles Rams. Well, I'm going to try to do this. It's not going to be a wide receiver. I'm going to try to do this again for you this week. That you're struggling to find a player that you can put in, and I think he's going to be at least close to an RB2 in this. At definitely a flex position, absolutely a flex position, absolutely. Because the writing was on the wall last week, and now it's definitely the writing is not on the wall. It's out there. It's out there. When I get to that game. When I get to that game, I'm going to let you know, okay? I've talked about this guy. I really love this guy. I loved him before the beginning of the season. I've even expressed that. And now he may have a chance to really shine when you need him the most in your semifinals, in your playoffs, okay? So let me get to these games. First of all, let me get to this. Miami optimistic that Tyreek Hill will play. Alexander Madison likely to play. Kenneth Walker likely to play. Nico Collins likely to play. A.J. Dillon, some people want to play A.J. Dillon. Good luck. Showing signs of improvement. Zay Jones. That's key. That's key. Zay Jones not likely to play. Cole Kmet likely to play. Deontay Foreman, not likely to play. Zay Flowers is questionable. And Devonta Smith is off the injury report. I just want to get those out there. You got to pay attention to 11:30, 12 o'clock, the early games. That's when the active report comes out for the early games. Later in the afternoon, when the afternoon games come about, which is about 4:30 games. The report comes out around 2:30, 3 o'clock, something like that. You pay attention to that, and so on and so forth. Okay, but that's and one of those I told you about. I just ran down a quick list. It's key. It's key, people. I'm telling you, it's key. Okay, so let's roll with all these games that are up in Christmas Eve and 3 games that are on Merry Christmas. And hopefully it's a Merry Christmas for the fantasy football team. If you got players, I got 3 players rolling in on Christmas. I'm in the semifinals, and I know I'm going to be behind the 8 ball in my league that is I'm in the semifinals. I'm in the semifinals. So I got 3 players that aren't going to be playing until Monday. So come Sunday, today, I'm going to be behind. I know that. I just hopefully I'm not that far behind that I can't make up the ground. Okay, just hopefully I'm not that far behind that I can't make up the ground. Anyway, let's start it off with the first 1:00 game. In my opinion, it's a key game. It's a key game. For the Indiana Colts at the Atlanta Falcons. Taylor Heineke is going to be the starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. We're going round and round and round and round, people. Round and round. Come on, man. Make your mind up. I mean, there's so many quarterbacks that are in and out of the lineup on these different teams. You can't. It's hard to keep track. I understand it's hard to keep track. Don't play Taylor Heineke. No. Absolutely not. Not even the 2 quarterback league. No. Unless you're desperate. I mean, you really got to be desperate for that. Really desperate for that. Excuse me. Anyway, Bijan Robinson, you're definitely playing. Drake London. Okay. Kyle Pitts. Come on, man. I know people have been hyping up and saying Kyle Pitts hasn't been used right since he got here. Okay. But when he's gotten his opportunities, which is few and far between, he's been inconsistent. Jonnu Smith this year has been more consistent in Kyle Pitts. You don't know what you're going to get with Kyle Pitts from game to game. Is that a part of the coach? Is that the coach's fault? Is that the quarterback's fault? Or is that the tight end's fault? Hey, all I can say is this. I wanted the head coach, and I'm not even going to mention his name because I really do not consider him a head coach material. I never liked, I shouldn't say this. I didn't like, and I thought he would be gone by last season, the head coach of the LA Chargers. I know you heard this before, and ad nauseum, and say, oh, you're going to rehash this. I'm not rehashing. I'm just trying to make a point here. The other head coach that I do not like is the Atlanta Falcons head coach. I'm not going to mention his name because I don't think he's worth his name being mentioned because he's mismanaged this team horribly and mismanaged his rookie running back who they drafted in the first round at number 8. Number 8. And he was using the second-year running back more than he was using his backup running back. I mean, his star running back, which was Bijan Robinson. Come on, man. You didn't even give him an opportunity. You just said sit down. We'll get you in and out whenever I feel like it. That's basically how it was with Tyler Algier in the beginning of the year. Now, because I guess he's gotten so much heat from the media and from whoever and realizing, oh, I should have played this guy a long time ago. He gave me a better chance to win. Hello? I've said this before. I've talked on the couch, a couch coach. Okay. Not getting paid any kind of money. And I'm watching these games, and I'm like, come on, man. Really? You're getting paid millions of dollars, and I'm ranting here. You're getting paid millions of dollars to make these decisions for your team, whether they win or lose. and mostly lose because you're making dumb decisions, I should say. I can do the same thing and not even make any money. I'm sitting on the couch and I can make better decisions. I see what's going on. I'm sitting here watching here and to watch. Sit and tell my wife, look, this is what's going to happen. And a lot of times it happens. A lot of times I'm not surprised because I can see the game script and what's going on and how predictable some play calling is. Come on. Come on. Really? Really? Okay. You play Bijan Robinson. You play Drake London. You play Kyle Pitts. Okay. Now, Drake London is a flex. Kyle Pitts, if you're desperate for a tight end at this point, Kyle Pitts, you can play. I don't recommend him. I don't like him. Never liked him because he's never been used as most people think he should be used. He's in name only. I've always said this. You heard me say this before. Pay attention to the numbers. Don't pay attention to the name. Okay? Don't pay attention to the name. On the other side, Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew, in this environment, is a quarterback two. In a two quarterback league, he can be your second quarterback. Okay? He can be your second quarterback. Michael Pittman is not playing. He's going to be out. And so that's going to hurt the passing game. More than likely, it's Josh Downs and Alec Pierce are going to be that. I can't recommend either one of them as a strong play or as even a decent play in here. I can't. I mean, you got to throw it to somebody, right? You got to throw it to somebody, but Michael Pittman's out. That's ironic because Michael Pittman's out and Jonathan Taylor's supposed to be coming back. Really? Jonathan Taylor's supposed to be coming back. You got to play Jonathan Taylor. Long-awaited return to Jonathan Taylor. And some of you players that if you survived, I didn't. If you survive and are in the playoffs, and now Jonathan Taylor appears, you got to play him. You got to play him. You don't sit on the bench, Jonathan Taylor. You don't want to hit him on the bench in your second round with a step away from the championship and said, well, I can't trust Jonathan Taylor because this is his first week back. Really? You're going to go that route? You're going to go that route and blow your possible chance of getting to the championship? I don't think so. And Mr. Incognito is sitting in my queue here waiting for me to bring him on. I can see that I saw the picture of him yesterday, but apparently he doesn't want to show me his picture today. So I'm going to get a voice with no picture. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But I'm going to bring Mr. FSP to you because that's what I do. I'm a class gentleman, and regardless of how much disrespect I get, I'm still going to be a gentleman. So Mr. FSP to you, how you doing?
Firstly, there is a picture right there. You mean you don't have the live beautifulness of me, but that's okay because I'm in a situation right now where I can't be Mr. Taylor. As you know, I do my regimen at 7:00.
Okay.
So I am not in a good position to be live and in living color after doing that. I have to make my breakfast so that I don't kill myself.
Okay.
So thank you for being humble. And as you said, a gentleman. I appreciate that.
No problem. How you doing, Mr. FSP? Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Same to you, my brother. Or Christmas Eve. Yep.
Excuse me?
You were talking about Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
When I jumped on, so I don't know what you talked about before that. But
Indianapolis Colts, I'll tell you real quick. Indianapolis Colts at the Atlanta Falcons. I went to the Falcons first, and then I went over to the Colts. So you can expound on either one of those, but don't take too long.
I got you. I won't. I promise you, I won't do. I won't do you the way some people do me.
Well,
Um.
let me say this real quick.
Oh, geez, here we go.
No, let me just say this real quick. And I thought about this before. Let me say this just real quick. It's up to the host, is in my opinion, and I'm not knocking anybody. It's up to the host when they pass it off to a co-host or someone else that's included in the show to tell them, okay, if they don't tell them you got a short time, then they just say they just pass it off. That means you don't have a restraint on the time. But if the host says keep it short or something to that effect, that's the responsibility of the person that gets passed off to keep it short and know that there's a time restraint. You follow me?
Well, I mean, I'll put it this way: when somebody says, "Hey, let's keep it going, let's keep it moving," that's the same thing as let's keep it short, not go over everything and then.
I agree. I
so,
agree. I agree.
So just remember that. Just remember that.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you gave me both Atlanta and the Colts. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because it's only a couple points I want to make.
Right.
The Taylor Heineke move is probably the best move that Arthur Smith has made outside of drafting 3 top offensive weapons and not using them, which is stupid. But Taylor Heineke will use them because I don't think he's going to check into a run. I think he'll check out of a run into a pass because he's more experienced. I think there's confidence there. That's number one. They're at home. Atlanta should win this game. Number 2, Michael Pittman is ruled out. Jonathan Taylor comes back.
Right.
I don't like that for Indianapolis. And right now, they're in a tie with Jacksonville for the division title, along with Houston.
Yep.
Both might lose today.
Yep.
So I think Indy's going to play desperate, but Atlanta's defense is just that much better when they don't have to cover a 6'6" jump ball guy. So the player, like you just said, Jonathan Taylor, yeah, you got to play him. No Zach Moss. And the other young guy behind him is good, but I don't know how well he can catch the ball. And your boy Drew Downing, I don't think he's going to mess up the secondary of Atlanta. So it's going to be a rough go for any offensive player for the Colts, in my opinion.
But what I had stressed that you can't sit Jonathan. He's coming back. You can't sit Jonathan.
Oh yeah. I agree with that. You don't sit him because he's their weapon. And if you're in a PPR, he's, depending on what type of PPR you're in, he's going to touch the ball like ad nauseum. He's going to have many opportunities. Now, Atlanta's defense is stout. It really is. That front 4 is stout. But you pound on them enough, they'll break. So ask Chuba Hubbard. Ask all those other cats. So, like I said, I agree with you on that. It's just a matter of, hey, getting into it. Who's going to be the other option outside of Jonathan Taylor is my point.
I understand that. And I had to stress that too. I thank you very much. Okay. And speaking of Chuba Hubbard, we're going to be talking about the Green Bay Packers and the Carolina Panthers. Let me talk about first the Carolina Panthers and their offensive weapons. All right. Earlier in the year, Bryce Young had a connection with Adam Thielen up until the time that the head coach, Frank Reich, got fired. Now that is progressively going to rookie to rookie, meaning Jonathan Mingo is getting targeted a lot more. I have more faith in Jonathan Mingo than I have in Adam Thielen at this point because the change up in philosophy of head coach being fired and then now the interim coach putting their stamp on what they want to do with the young quarterback and the young wide receiver. You play Chuba Hubbard. Because that's the best weapon. That's the best weapon. And the fact is this. The Green Bay Packers, their weakness is against the running back. 18th against the quarterback, 23rd against the running back, 14th against the wide receiver, and 15th against the tight end position in preventing fantasy points. That's the Green Bay Packers. They can be run on. So what does Carolina, in my opinion, do best? Run the football. Protect the young quarterback. Run the football. I know I said Jonathan Mingo. I like Jonathan Mingo. I think he's an up-and-coming player. But he has to have a quarterback that can get in the football. But he's got a lot of talent. A lot of talent. And that's why he's being featured more than Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is an old head, over 30 wide receiver. Jonathan Mingo is just starting his career and has a more talent than Adam Thielen. That's why I'm talking about Jonathan Mingo and Chuba Hubbard. In my opinion, two options. The only two options from the Carolina Panthers. Speaking of options, I like Jordan Love in this situation. I know he's on the road. I know he's against the Carolina Panthers. And the Carolina Panthers, believe it or not, are number one against the quarterback position, 29th against the running back position, 4th against the wide receiver position, and 10th against the tight end position in preventing fantasy points. Carolina defends the pass well. Just like the Packers, they can be run on. So if you have Aaron Jones, hello. Aaron Jones should, as long as he's healthy, he should thrive today. Protecting a young quarterback, that's Jordan Love, second year, third year, fourth year, whatever year quarterback he is. Run the football first, play action, and then get it to your wide receivers in Romeo Doubs and Devontae Hicks. Jaden Reed is dealing with a toe injury, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he's going to play. Don't think he's going to play. And also, Green Bay. Now, we're not talking about way back in the day when I used to like the Green Bay Packers tight end. Okay. And I can't remember his name, but whatever his name was.
Jermichael Finley.
Jermichael Finley. Thank you. I like Tucker Kraft. I like Tucker Kraft to be in here. If you're desperate for a tight end, you don't have one of the top 10 tight ends, Tucker Kraft could be one of those for you in the tight end position. Okay? Mr. FSP, talk to me.
What's left for me to talk about? You took everything. Look, I will tell you this. I like Jordan Love in this game a lot. I really do. Even though Carolina has one of the best secondaries in the NFL. I think they'll get softened up by Aaron Jones running the ball. I really do. I see that as being the Achilles heel right now. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be more of a let me do my job so that everybody else can do their job type of game. If you understand what I mean by that. I don't see a ton of scoring on this, but I do see Jordan Love getting his target Reed and Tucker the ball. I mean, like I said, you said everything there's to say about this matchup. So I'm done.
Okay, good enough. Let's move on to where I have my team and my ex-team playing each other. I got a Jerome Ford jersey on. We're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns at the Houston Texans. Let me go this way. Case Keenum is playing. What can I tell you, people? Nico Collins is expected to play. Noah Brown is expected to play. Okay, he's going to need all those weapons in this game. He's going to need all those weapons in this game. The Houston Texans play better at home. I'll tell you that right now. They play better defensive football at home. You play Devin Singletary, okay? You play him. I know this defense is one of the best defenses, if not the best defense overall in the NFL. 20th against the quarterback. Hold on. fifth against the quarterback, 10th against the running back, second against the wide receiver, and number one against the tight end position. That's Cleveland defense preventing fantasy points. They're one of the best, if not the best, overall defense in the NFL. And they're going up against a backup quarterback and a banged up Houston Texans team. That's dangerous. That, in my opinion, that is very dangerous because no one expects them to be in this game, and that's exactly what may happen. They'll be right in the thick of things. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Those are players, and also Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz is healthy. He plays in this game. He's another weapon that Case Keenum is going to get the ball out quick because of the Cleveland Brown pass rush. On the other side of the ball, Houston is 20th against the quarterback, 16th against the running back, 11th against the wide receiver, 29th against the tight end position. David Njoku has been balling out, people. And Houston is one of the worst teams preventing fantasy points against the tight end position. 29th. Everybody's expecting David Njoku to have another big game. Joe Flacco has flown for more than 300 yards the last two games. The first game he came up and played with the Browns, he threw for over 250 yards. Since then, he's thrown for over 300 yards, 44, 45 times a game is Joe Flacco. In my opinion, Joe Flacco is if you don't have a quarterback and you're looking for a quarterback, Joe Flacco. He's thrown it 40, 44, 45 times. He's definitely on the quarterback 2 level. Definitely. If you got 2 quarterback league, Joe Flacco should be in there if he's available. Jerome Ford is going to maybe having a little to say, but they're basically right now Cleveland's a throwing team. Okay, Amari Cooper, David Njoku, and I'm going to give you another guy. Okay, I'm going to give you another guy because most people forget about him. I think he's going to have a showing. I think he's going to have a showing today. I think he's going to get at least double-digit fantasy points today. That's Elijah Moore. That's Elijah Moore. I like Elijah Moore in this game, okay, as a flex. I like him a lot in this game as a flex. Mr. FSP, talk to me about the Texans and the Cleveland Browns.
Again, I see your strategy. Talk about everything, so I have nothing to talk about. But that's cool. I got something for you. Okay. So the Houston Texans, under Case Keenum, aren't going to be as buoyant offensively, even with Nico Collins, because Robert Mechie, the guy from Alabama a couple years ago, has not produced that number 2 role. Tank Dell is on IR, so who's going to be the number 2? Dalton Schultz returns, but Case Keenum does not have a rapport with Dalton Schultz like C.J. Stroud did. Another thing I want to say is C.J. Stroud was and probably still is considered a top candidate for offensive rookie of the year.
You think that's still on the table?
But well, I'm about to get to that.
Okay.
If Houston comes out and balls out today versus Cleveland and finds a way to win without him, C.J. Stroud is not going to be the offensive rookie of the year. Puka Nacua will be. But that's how important that quarterback position is. You say Devin Singletary is the guy right now. And with the new way that the Houston Texans run their offense, he is. He wasn't a bum in Buffalo. It was just he wasn't a power back. And that's what they have. I think he will get a lot of catches out of the backfield and in the screen game. Case Keenum excels at that. Where Case Keenum messes up is he tries to force the ball into tight spots to the number 1 receiver, a la Nico Collins. But who's going to be that relief for Nico like Tank Dell was? You don't know. Is it Robert Mechie? I don't know. Is the other kid Brown? I don't know. But we'll see. But with that being said,
this game scares me.
Huh?
This game scares me. I know how Houston is at home. I'm very well versed on it.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. Yeah. That Cleveland could lose this game.
Yeah.
And Case Keenum could take him to the victory again, even though it was ugly last week. I think he can do it again.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Cleveland game because I don't believe in Cooper Kupp, as you know. I mean, not Cooper Kupp, Amari Cooper, as you already know. I believe that he's a possession guy. You can't use him as a deep threat guy, in my opinion. So if Ford doesn't get off, which I don't think he will, and if Hunt doesn't get off, because you didn't mention Kareem Hunt, I'm not sure what his role is in Cleveland anymore, but
It's been diminished.
well,
Go
I know
ahead.
that part, but I don't know if he's like going to get more than like 5 or 6 touches a game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But with that being the case, this is a winnable game for Houston. Very winnable. Very
Is it?
winnable. And Joe Flacco, since you mentioned it, he's thrown an interception, 1 or 2 interceptions, or at least had 2 turnovers in all the games he's played.
Yep.
So if that happens and Houston can find a way to capitalize on it, it's a done deal. But that's what I got.
All right. So I'm going to do this. Okay. Since you pointed it out for the second time, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go and highlight the home team, and then you get to highlight the fantasy relevance of the away team. Okay. Next on our list
Thank
is
you.
the Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. Anything. I'm going to be a gentleman. Okay. Nick Mullins is the quarterback at home. I've always professed this. I professed this last season, and I'm still doing it. I like this offense. I like this Minnesota offense. So I'm going to go out on a limb here. If you don't have this is the year of the backup quarterback. Obviously, there's backup quarterbacks playing all over the league, all and making fantasy relevancy. Okay, I think Nick Mullins in this game is one of them. I think this is going to be a shootout, and I think Nick Mullins is going to be part of that shootout. You play Nick Mullins. Okay, I'm going out on a limb. You play Nick Mullins. And like I said earlier in the program when I went down the list of players, Alexander Madison is likely to play this week. Tyler Chandler had his day, 15 minutes of fame last week. I think it's going to be a split backfield. I don't think it's going to be completely Ty Chandler or completely Alexander Madison. I think it's going to be a split backfield. They like to throw the football. I'm talking about Minnesota. They like to throw the football. And they got really good options. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. Do I need to say any more? I don't have to tell you to play these guys. These guys are named guys that are putting up numbers. Pay attention to the name. Pay attention to the numbers, not the name. But you can pay attention to the name and the numbers because these guys are putting up both. Okay? Mr. FSP, you got Detroit.
All right. Thank you very much. Just one clarification. Alexander Madison has been ruled out for the game according to Ian Rappaport. So it's supposed to be Ty Chandler getting all of the touches today.
Okay.
But with that being said, Detroit is awesome on offense. Awesome. That's why Johnson is going to be a head coach next year. And it's reported he wants $15 million a year to coach any team as a head coach, the offensive coordinator for Detroit. The problem is Aaron Glenn's secondary is very, very, very suspect. With that being said, I'm looking at a key matchup here. There's actually 2 very key matchups, and this is a fantasy-friendly game. Understand what I mean fantasy-friendly? You've got Laporta versus Hawkinson. You got Justin Jefferson versus Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got Addison versus what's my man from Alabama? Williams. You've got Gibbs and Montgomery versus Tyson. This is a fantasy-rich game. Detroit needs to stop the run. They need to stop. Not the run. They need to stop the pass. That's the one thing that's going to hurt them in this game if they let Justin Jefferson get loose. With that being said, you've got to play regardless if they're hurt or not, which I don't believe they are, you got to play Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm thinking Laporta, St. Brown, as well as Gibbs get a touchdown. That's 21 points, right? That doesn't even mention if they get to the goal line and Montgomery is that hammer. That's 28 points. The key here is can can golf stop being December golf? December golf is the worst quarterback in the NFL, but he's indoors. That's the thing. He's indoors. No weather issues, controlled temperature, just the noise. That's all he's got to worry about. That the clap and the skull Viking, whatever. They've got to play well. I trust golf in this game. That's what I'm saying. I trust golf in this game. And think about it. They play Minnesota 2 times, today and the last game of the season. If Minnesota wins this game and win the following week, they play for the title. They play for the NFC North title week 18. So Detroit has got to put the pedal to the metal and get it done. But if Detroit wins, they win the North. That's all I got.
All right, next game is Washington Commanders at New York Jets. Worst defense against the worst offense. I'm talking about the Jets. Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson. I don't need to talk about it anymore. That's it. Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson. And I also talk about this. Excuse me. The Washington Commanders are 32nd against the quarterback, 26th against the running back, 31st against the wide receiver, and 11th against the tight end position, preventing fantasy points. They are bad. Bad. The Jets can run the football and had a offensive rookie of the year in Garrett Wilson. They're going to try to get the football. And the quarterback is not going to be Zach Wilson. It's going to be Trevor Siemian. Okay. That's a check mark on the negative side for the Jets, but they have options to protect the quarterback. And running the football with Brees Hall against this defense and throwing the football against the Washington defense in Garrett Wilson. You play them. Mr. FSP, you have your Washington Commanders. I gave you a gift horse right there.
Really? Well, I'll put it this way. Ron Rivera is going to be gone. He knows it, right? Everybody that's Commanders fan knows it. The problem is this. Washington's secondary is the worst in the NFL. Not the complete defense, because the front 4, or front 2, I should say, isn't that bad. The thing is, the Jets are going to use play action to get to Garrett Wilson, and they want to do much because Brees Hall packs a punch. Washington's defense is somewhat of a liability in this game. So I would definitely not play Washington, even though a lot of sites, Yahoo, ESPN, FanDuel, and places like that have Washington's defense getting like 10 or 12 fantasy points in this game. I don't think so. JT said that Trevor Siemian is a liability in this game. I don't know if he's a liability, more so than he is going to have to play it safe, because Washington's offense is going to be without Brian Robinson Jr., their big hammer. That means Rodriguez and Antonio Gibson are the lead backs in this game.
And what's your thought about them?
Well, I like Rodriguez because he was at Auburn, I believe. He's an Auburn kid. He's a rookie. But Antonio Gibson, he fumbled the ball last week. The reason why Robinson took the job as a rookie before he even played one official NFL down was because Antonio Gibson fumbled the ball. Unfortunately for Robinson, he got shot before the last preseason game, and so on and so forth. Tragic story. But now they're one of them out. And here's another problem. They're not going to be able to force feed Terry McLaurin like they did last week. It's not going to be able to. Jacoby Brissett did that. They're going back to Sam Howell. I like Sam Howell, but Sam Howell leads the NFL in interceptions and yards at the quarterback position. I mean, not interceptions. Yeah, he does. Interceptions, being sacked, because he and Josh Allen lead the league in interceptions. Interceptions, sacks, and passing yards. That's not good. Washington is also without both of their offensive tackles. Their two starting, their right and their left offensive tackles are not playing. like I said, they can't force feed Terry McLaurin. Jahad Dotson went missing in this offense, even though it's not his fault. I don't think so. And Curtis Samuel has been their number one receiver. Their number 3 receiver is their number 1. It's not good. It's not good. Jets should win this game. And I don't see a lot of fantasy points coming out of this game for either team other than Garrett Wilson.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next game. Seattle Seahawks at the Tennessee Titans. I'm going with the Titans. Mr. FSP is going to be talking about the Seattle Seahawks. Look, I know Will Levis and most people really didn't think, I didn't think earlier that Will Levis is that good of a quarterback. I still don't think he's that good of a quarterback. I think he's coming along. I think next season, Will Levis will have I wouldn't say come out season, but I think he'll be better with this year under his belt. Trial under fire this year, I think it's going to benefit Will Levis. I know he's cocky. I know he's cocky as in I'm trying to think. A quarterback that came into the league that was cocky. Oh my God. Anyway, Will Levis, I think he's been humbled a little bit.
Johnny Manziel is who you're looking for.
There you go. That's just for example. I'm not saying he's a Johnny Manziel. I think he's got a lot more talent than Manziel. And is coachable. I think he's had a welcome to the league moment in more ways than one this season, and I think that's helped him in his development. I think he's going to be a better quarterback next season with more weapons. I don't know if DeAndre Hopkins is going to be there next season, but if he is, they need another wide receiver to go along with DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know, Treylon Burks has panned out, but I think this offense is going to be opened up with the loss of Derrick Henry, because I think Derrick Henry is not going to be with the Tennessee Titans next season. And because of that, they're going to be looking for a more dynamic back along with Tyjae Spears and open up this offense a little bit more. Anyway, I talked about Derrick Henry. Played Derrick Henry against the Seattle Seahawks, who can be run on. Seattle Seahawks can be run on. They are 23rd against the quarterback, 27th against the running back, 26th against the wide receiver position, and 17th against the tight end position and preventing fantasy points. They can be run on. This defense can be taken advantage of. I'm talking about Seattle's defense. Okay, so you use Derrick Henry. That's not a revelation. DeAndre Hopkins should benefit from Will Levis getting him the football. First game Will Levis played, he fed the beast in DeAndre Hopkins. I think he's going to continue to do that again. You play both those guys. I think those guys are viable options in your fantasy football semifinals. Mr. FSP, you talked to me about Mr. Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, I'll say this. Will Levis is questionable, right?
Okay.
So if Ronnie Tannehill plays, Seattle blows them out. And you made an observation, I'm going to say 3 weeks ago, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, when Jacksonville played Tennessee. And you said, I don't think it was on this show, I think it was on my show, Fantasy Sports and Politics, every Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time, where you get information, motivation, and variety. And then you also get Truth or Consequences, inside joke. But you said Calvin Ridley would expose and blow up on that secondary, and he did.
Yeah.
What do you think DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and then Jigba are going to do? Yep. Even if Walker doesn't play, which Pete Carroll said he is going to play, it's going to be a massacre. This is my lock. I shouldn't say this on air, but who cares? I'm going to bet $250 on Seattle to cover the spread on this game. I think it's like 3.5 points.
Okay.
I'm about to bet $250 that they cover that spread. And it's crazy because,
Yeah, that's crazy.
well, it's
Especially with
crazy.
Seattle's on the road, and I don't trust
I,
Seattle on the road.
I trust them on the road with the offensive weaponry they have and Geno Smith. If it were Tyler Lockett, I'm not going to do that. I mean, not Tyler Lockett. If it's my boy Drew Lock, who, by the way, Drew Lock has the potential to be a comeback player of the year next year if he's traded. The reason why is because I think that young man has matured. He was, you know what I said was, he was the Wilson of his draft class. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, he was the Zach Wilson of his draft class.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
but I believe he's matured enough because he's shown in the past 2 games that he's played that he can manage a game and win a game.
And take those shots when
and take those shots. Yes. And guess what? He beat the best team or one of the best teams in the NFL, Philadelphia.
Yep.
Granted, it was here in Seattle, but he did that throwing the ball, not running it, but throwing it. So that's a side note, right? But I also believe that that's what's going to happen in this game, that whoever, Geno or Locke, they're going to throw all over that secondary of Tennessee. And it's just going to be, I believe, a massacre, especially if Ryan Tannehill plays, because we know Ryan Tannehill is not mobile, and they're going to come get him.
Yep.
They're going to come get him.
And just a side note, I'm really surprised at the Tennessee defense. I mean, they have a defensive-minded head coach, and their biggest weakness, I know he's the linebacker. Then when he was playing, I'm talking about the head coach. But I'm really surprised that they get gashed so much in the passing game. So, with that being said, let's move on to the next game. Jacksonville Jaguars. It's a game of Florida. Let me put it this way. It's going to be Florida matchup. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I get the opportunity and the privilege of talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense with Baker Mayfield. That's ironic, people.
You're not gonna goat me. That's all I'm gonna say. You're not gonna goat me.
I'm not trying to. I'm just saying, if you listen to what I'm saying without interrupting me, then you'll know what I'm going to be talking about. Anyway, it's ironic I'm talking about this, and including Baker Mayfield, who's been playing his best football this season with this team. He's finally talking about maturity. I don't know if it's maturity or he's found his niche team in this team with the combination of the running back, Rachaad White. You play him. I've talked about Rachaad White ad nauseum, and people have finally come around to realizing that Rachaad White is a good back. Okay, especially in PPR. You play Mike Evans without a shadow of a doubt. Chris Godwin made an appearance last week. Is that going to be sustained through the rest of the fantasy playoffs? I'm not sure. It could have been an anomaly. It could be like, okay, he's been an afterthought for several weeks. Is he going to? And all of a sudden, okay, let's feature Chris and let's get him involved in the offense. Or is he going to be what you've seen from Chris Godwin earlier part of the season? I think it's going to be mid. It's going to be a little bit of both. I don't think he's going to have a huge day. I think he's going to get low double digits, 10, maybe 13 fantasy points. Okay. So he can use him in the flex or wide receiver 3 or something like that in Chris Godwin. Main characters, Rachaad White, Mike Evans. And with the guys throwing the football against this defense that can be gassed, Jacksonville's defense is 29th against the quarterback, 18th against the running back, 25th against the wide receiver position, and 28th against the tight end position at preventing fantasy points. They can be gashed in that passing game. You play that passer in Baker Mayfield, who's been this is Baker's team, and he wants to come back next season. This is Baker's team. I don't think you can get much better than this quarterback playing within this offense than Baker Mayfield. Okay, I'm gonna give him the props. I talk about him when he's bad, and I'm talking about him when he's good, and he's been really good for this offense. You play Baker Mayfield, Rashad White, Mike Evans, and you cross your fingers. I hate to say it like this, but you cross your fingers if you play Chris Godwin. Talk to me, Mr. FSP, about Jacksonville.
Jacksonville has Trevor Lawrence returning. That is key. It's not going to be Bobby Beathard's grandson. Those that don't know who Bobby Beathard was, he's a former general manager of the early 80 Washington Redskins, now Commanders. Anyway, Trevor Lawrence is a game changer. And with that being said, I talked about last segment or last game how Jerry said Calvin Ridley was going to break out versus Tennessee. This is another breakout game for Calvin Ridley. And Trevor Lawrence has got to get him the ball when they throw the ball. The secondary of Tampa Bay is not that good at all.
They stink.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, they do. And here's the deal. In order for Tampa Bay to contain Calvin Ridley or Evan Ingram or what's the young kid name? Zay Jones, who's hobbled right now. He has a knee brace on his, I believe, right knee, and he's their speed guy. And now you go to the rookie number 11. Can't remember his name right now.
Parker Washington.
Yes, I like that kid because Trevor likes to throw to him. But the problem is this. If Jacksonville does not run Travis Etienne and Tampa has a good run defense, none of those guys are going to be able to get to the ball. None of them. But the biggest deal here, ladies and gentlemen, is Doug Peterson taking the points when given. Because he's doing this Brandon Staley stuff in the red zone and for 2 points. And I'm like, dude, you messing up my parlays. You're messing up your team wins. What's going on?
They don't care about you.
I know they don't. But that's what I'm saying to myself. But that's my point, that he's giving up these points. And the reason why, I'm just going to point to it, the reason why they are on this 4-game losing streak is the decision-making of Peterson. He's not taking points when given and relying on his defense. I understand Jacksonville's linebackers aren't that good. They're undersized, but they have one of the best, if not the best, linebacker in the game, in Oluokwan. Now, I understand Franklin leads the league in tackles, which is good because I got him. But you got to rely on your linebackers to be where they're supposed to be because your front four, Josh Allen and Walker's finally coming around. That was the biggest mistake Jacksonville made in that draft. They should have got Hutchinson. You pair Hutchinson with Allen, oh my God. Walker is not that dude. He had a good game versus Baltimore, but that was Baltimore. Baker hasn't learned how to just stay in the pocket. Baker will run. But anyway, Jacksonville needs to find a way to run the ball so they can set up the play action pass to Calvin Ridley. I'm playing Calvin Ridley. He should have a monster game. But that young kid, Washington, that you just told me his name, that's the little secret ingredient right there. But if you're in your playoffs, can you afford to take that risk now? You can't. Well, Evan Ingram and Calvin Ridley should eat this game. But Travis Etienne will be the linchpin. Don't expect Travis Etienne to have a monster game. Expect him to have an impactful game. There's a difference. He'll run the ball probably 17, 20 times. He and DeForest, the former Brown, can't remember his last name. But they'll run the ball to keep those linebackers honest. And then over the top, you hit Evan Ingram and you hit Calvin Ridley. That's what I got.
All right, people. This is when I talked earlier, I told you about a key guy. I told you about a guy that is going to show up and show out because of injury, because the player is not likely to play. And this is the game. I gave you one last week. He showed up and showed out. I'm giving you this one this week. I've talked about this guy before the beginning of the season. I've talked to you about this guy early during the part of any part of the season. I hyped this guy up. This is his breakout game, people. Ideal conditions. Ideal conditions. I can't stress this enough. I when I talked last week, I couldn't stress it enough about the wide receiver I wanted you to play. And Mr. FSP just coincidentally left the show when I wanted to talk about this matchup yet last week, and he would have missed out on this. I'm talking about this week. He's not going to miss out on it. He probably doesn't have this opportunity to get this guy anywhere on the waiver wire because he is a stick of dynamite waiting to explode, in my opinion. In my opinion, like I said, I've hyped this guy up. Ideal conditions. He goes up against a defense that's 28th against the quarterback, 31st against the running back position, 20th against the wide receiver position, and 4th against the tight end position in preventing fantasy points. The matchup I'm talking about is this: the Arizona Cardinals versus the Chicago Bears. Deontay Foreman, I'm taking the Chicago Bears. Deontay Foreman is more than likely not to play. If that's the case, Roschon Johnson is going up against one of the worst rush defenses in fantasy football. Roschon Johnson can catch the football, can run the football, back up to Bijan Robinson. I talked about this, people, since the beginning of the season. I'm talking about it right now. This is ideal. He outtouched both Khalil Herbert and Deontay Foreman last week. He outtouched them when they were both healthy in the lineup. Now he doesn't have Deontay Foreman. He only has Khalil Herbert, who is probably going to take a back seat to Roschon Johnson against this defense, and they're playing at home in ideal conditions at home. I can't stress this enough. If he's on your waiver wire, and I've talked about him ad nauseum the whole season, he shouldn't be. But if he happens to be, you need to grab him and put him in at least your flex position because he's going to have a breakout game today. I mean, 31st against preventing fantasy points is the Arizona Cardinals. They're playing in Chicago. He's going to be the lead back. I can't stress this enough. You play DJ Moore, you play Roschon Johnson, and you play Justin Fields against this defense of Arizona. Mr. FSP, talk to me about the Arizona Cardinals.
Well, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to beat you to it because I know how much people want to hate on my guy, my Sooner. But the Oompa Loompa, my guy, Kyler Murray, along with Connor, are going to be tearing up that secondary of Chicago. Now, here's the deal. Chicago's pass rush, since they got Montez Sweat, has been monstrous. But they're still vulnerable in the middle. I believe James Conner can run that rock up the middle and get some yards. Also, I love McBride in this game. Chicago does not cover the linebacker well. Does not cover the tight end well. What's Kyler's second favorite target? The tight end. Marquise Brown is his first one, but Marquise Brown isn't playing. So it's going to be tough for Kyler to get the ball out to everybody that he wants to when they're not on the field. But McBride and Connor are going to be some linchpins in this game. Like you said, running against Arizona is like money. But I think they're going to try to get out to a lead where they're going to force Justin Fields to throw the ball. I think that's the game plan. Have all of your pieces out there going for the big play and putting up points, because I don't believe Justin Fields can beat a team that can score as many points as them. Now, yeah, they did beat Detroit, and stuff like that. Got it. But Detroit secondary is garbage. They don't have Buda Baker. So we'll see what happens. But I'm on Kyler Murray, McBride, and Connor in this game.
Okay. And this game is due to go to over 51 points, in my opinion. Okay, over 50 points. Let me put it that way. Dallas Cowboys at the Miami Dolphins. I'm taking the Dolphins. I'll take the home team. You play Tua. Miami is 6-1 at home. 0-3 against winning teams. Okay. But you play Tua. We're talking about fantasy, man. We're talking about fantasy. So you play Tua Tagovailoa. Speed kills. And Miami has a lot of speed. And Dallas, I don't know if they can keep up with the speed. Okay. Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. You heard me mention all 5 of those names. Tagovailoa, Mostert, Achane, Hill, Waddle. They all should be in your fantasy lineup in one way or the other. I don't need to say anything else. I got those 5 names out there, Mr. FSP. You talk to the Dallas Cowboys.
I hate the Dallas Cowboys, but I will say this. These are the 2 highest scoring teams in the NFL. Okay, ready. Whatever the hell Dak says. The plan is to get CeeDee Lamb the ball. He needs 5 receptions to break Michael Irvin's record, right? The thing is this. You can't just force feed him versus Miami because Miami has Jalen Ramsey and another cornerback that's pretty good, plus 2 dynamite safeties. With that being the case, this has to be a Tony Pollard type game. He has to be able to run the ball versus Miami to set up that play action pass because you have some of the best corners in the NFL on Miami's defense. Follow that up with, can Brandon Cooks get involved more? Ferguson needs to get involved more. And where's Michael Gallup? You know, that's the key offensively in this game. You know, are you going to feed Michael Gallup and Brandon Cooks the ball? Brandon Cooks has been a double-digit fantasy player for the past 4 or 5 weeks, right? Some of it's been in garbage time. Some of it's been okay. Well, I think one game he was like the guy outside of CeeDee Lamb. But that's the key. Can they run the ball with Tony Pollard and set up all these other guys so Brandon Cooks gets the ball and spread it around? If they can do that, it might nullify that speed that Miami has because Miami can score, no doubt, but can they stop, high scoring teams? I don't know, but Dallas is going to give it a good try. I think you're right. I think this is going to be an over 50 game. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the last game on Christmas Eve, which would be I don't know how, I don't know if you're naughty or nice type of gift this is. New England Patriots at the Denver Broncos. Ugh. I don't know why they put this game on the 8:00 game in Christmas Eve, but it is what it is. Anyway, I'll take Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. Mr. FSP is going to talk in fantasy relevance about the New England Patriots. Good luck with that. Russell Wilson against his defense. They're playing in Denver, which is key. They're playing in Denver, which is key for Russell Wilson. I would play Russell Wilson against this matchup, against the defense that New England puts out. The defense is a whole lot better than their offense is. And that's the only reason that they may keep them in the game is their defense. But their offense may put them in bad situations. Talking about the defense. They may put the New England defense in bad situations. I like Russell Wilson to take advantage of that. I like Javonte Williams in this game, and I like Mr. Wilson's BFF. And that's best friends forever, not best financial friends, Cortland Sutton. So I like Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams, and Russell Wilson. And Jerry Jeudy, in my opinion, is just like in the game previous we talked about in Calvin Ridley or whoever being a anomaly showing up sporadically. I think Jerry Jeudy had his 15 minutes of fame last week. I don't think he's going to be fantasy relevant in this game. Cortland Sutton and Javonte Williams, Russ Wilson. Mr. FSP, you got the pleasure of doing the Patriots.
So I'll tell you like this. When you have a BFF, best financial friend, your other BFF supposedly gets jealous. But I'm not going to say anything. We'll move on from that. Bailey Zappi, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Zeke, talking about Ezekiel Elliott, they're going to be the only things valuable on this team for the Patriots because Hunter Henry is out. Bailey Zappi likes throwing to the tight end, though. So you got to find out, okay, does that mean Gesicki's going to get more touches because he's now the starting tight end? I don't know. But you can guarantee Zeke's going to touch that ball 17, 18 times in the passing game and in the run game. Juju Smith-Schuster is the only decent wide receiver they have. But again, look who they're going against, man. You got to think about that. Denver has one of the best defenses in the NFL in the past 8 games. They've stepped up. It's going to be tough to pass the ball on them. So I'm looking at Zeke to being that big guy to test the rock more than normal. As I said, receiving as well as running. You can find something good to say about the Patriots, but not much. They're going to lose this game.
Okay, let's move on to the next game. Merry Christmas. The reason I say it's Merry Christmas is we got 3 Christmas games. One at 1 o'clock, one at 4:30, and the other one is the night game, which is the premier game, that Monday Night Football. We got the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm talking about the Chiefs. Mr. FSP is talking about the Raiders. Pat Mahomes, Isaiah Pacheco is going to be back. Jerry McKinnon, I think, is going to be out in this game, and Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce. Okay, I don't need to talk about all this. There's nothing to talk about. These players are going to be in your lineup. If you're in the semifinals, you more than likely, and I'm not saying you do, but more than likely, you have a piece of the Kansas City offense. Okay, a lot of people do. One of those pieces is just who I mentioned: Mahomes, Pacheco, Rice, or Kelce. I've talked about Rice earlier in the season. I've talked about him preseason when it was talked about. Looks like Pat Mahomes likes this rookie. Looks like Andy Reid is using this rookie where he doesn't normally use rookie wide receivers. I've talked about that. If you listen to the prior programs, you've heard me say this. And now it's absolutely in your face. Rashee Rice is the number 1 wide receiver that Pat Mahomes likes. Okay? A rookie wide receiver. So, Pacheco, Rice, Kelce, talk to me, Mr. FSP. You got the LV Raiders.
So I'll put it to you like this. If you did not pick up Zamir White a week or so ago when Josh Jacobs didn't play, you might be too late now. I expect Josh Jacobs to play, but if he doesn't, you should have handcuffed Zamir White. Of course, Devontae Adams is going to get his man. Of course. I think he's going to be that guy. But Sullivan isn't that big of a threat, the quarterback. But he's going to target Devontae Adams a lot. Yesterday's show, we had Truck, a.k.a. Jason, a.k.a. Jay on, who has Jacoby Myers. Now, Jacoby Myers kind of disappeared once McDaniels was fired, but then he had somewhat of a reemergence along with my guy Hunter Renfrow. I expect Jacoby Myers to eat well in this game, the tight end, along with that Michael Myers, I should say, Michael Myers, and Jacoby Myers. I expect them to eat well in this game as well. I think Sullivan might go for 250 and maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns. I don't know who the touchdowns are going to go to, but I expect that to happen. I also expect the running backs of Las Vegas to have a big game. I know last time they played, it was 14-0. Then Kansas City came back and put up, 31, 35 unanswered points, whatever, and they lost. Well, the Raiders have gotten better since. Expect the Raiders' defense to cause all types of havoc for Pat Mahomes. They've been a pretty good secondary and defense over the past 4 or 5 games. Uh, I wouldn't say play him in this game, but if you did, you're not going to be disappointed. It's not going to be that bad of a score. I think it's going to be a close game. And definitely the Raiders are going to cover 10 points. The Raiders will cover 10 points. That's all I got.
Okay. Let's move on to a division game, NFC East type of game, played on Christmas Day. If you're a New York Giants, you're going to get coal in your stocking in Christmas against the Philadelphia Eagles, who is going to be given, who have been given a gift, in my opinion, on Christmas, playing the New York Giants. To me, this is a get right game for Philly, who is badly in need of a victory. Over the last 3 weeks, they've went from 10-1 to 10-4 on a 3-game losing streak. This is the game they get right. This is their 11th win, in my opinion. I know I don't normally take wins and losses in this show, but this to me is obvious. Jalen Hurts, I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts, DeAndre Swift, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and yes, even Dallas Goedert are going to be fantasy relevant in this game. Okay? They're going to be fantasy relevant in this game. The Giants are horrible. And in my opinion, put up a tough first half, maybe a quarter, before they relent to the Philadelphia Eagles. Giants are 14th against the quarterback, 21st against the running back, 28th against the wide receiver. That's key. And 5th against the tight end position in preventing fantasy points. Philly is 31st against the quarterback, 5th against the running back, 32nd against the wide receiver, and 20th against the tight end position preventing fantasy points. Their weakness is the Giants' really weakness. Tommy DeVito's not an all-pro passer. Let me put it that way. They're going to rely on what Mr. FSP is going to be talking about. I named you all the characters. There's 5 of them. Hurts, Swift, Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert on the Eagles. Mr. FSP, you're talking about the Giants, okay?
All right, real quick. The DeVito mania is over. I mean, all the Italian jokes and whatnot. He got sacked, 6 times versus the Jets. I expect him to get sacked like 9 or 10 times now. Look, Philly is pissed off. They are pissed. So does Saquon have a chance in this game? Of course he's got a chance, but that's all he's got, a chance. Jalen Hyatt, a guy I love from University of Tennessee, has emerged as probably one of the better targets for DeVito. But, I mean, by God, not Evan Ingram, former Giant, my guy, Darren Walker needs to appear. He needs to become an offensive threat. Now, I'm one of the people that kept him, put him on IR and whatnot. This is his 2nd game back. I do expect him to have a decent game because the Philadelphia Eagles linebacking core is kind of beat up. And Darren Waller is a very, very, very talented tight end. He's just got to stay healthy. So I expect him to have a decent game. Saquon, not so much. But
you got to play him.
Well, yeah, you got to play him. You got to play him. That's obviously your number 1 or 1B running back that you drafted. You know what I mean? Because, again, and I said this during the summer and leading up to the drafts, the running back position was very slim this year. Very slim, especially for those that are dual threat running backs. Very slim. So you got to play him. But I expect Darren Waller, and I said Walker earlier I meant Waller, Darren Waller to have a good game and be that outlet guy for DeVito. It's just a matter of how many times does DeVito get a chance to throw to him without being on his back. That's all I got.
Okay. And the premier game, and the game that in my, I wouldn't say experience, but in my league, one of my leagues, is going to either take me to the finals or be a disappointment is this game. The San Francisco 49ers are hosting the Baltimore Ravens. Both teams are 11-3. Both teams come in here as possible Super Bowl matchups from each other. The Baltimore Ravens, 3 against the quarterback, 4th against the running back, 12th against the wide receiver, and 7th against the tight end position, preventing fantasy points. The San Francisco 49ers are 4th against the quarterback, 12th against the running back, 22nd against the wide receivers, and 12th against the tight end position. These two defenses are very good. They have weaknesses, quite naturally, okay? One more than the other, but they're 11-3 for a reason. And this is going to be, in my opinion, a make or break game for fantasy football semifinalists, whether they get into, include myself, whether they get into the championship or are going to settle for maybe 3rd place, in my opinion. I'm taking the 49ers. Mr. FSP is going to be taking the Ravens. And I'm talking like this. You play Brock Purdy, a potential MVP candidate in real life, not in fantasy, even though he's been a fantasy godsend. You take Chris McCaffrey, who can be an MVP candidate in both fantasy and in reality. Deebo Samuel, absolutely. Juwan Jennings, the unsung wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers, is out. Who's going to benefit from that? Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel? It doesn't matter because both these guys are heavily involved in offense in San Francisco, along with George Kittle. This is going to be a very interesting matchup between these two teams. And this is fitting. It's the last game of the week on Christmas Day. Mr. FSP, talk to me about the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, look, everybody's hyping this up. The money, not the money line, the spread moved from 3.5 to 5.5 in the favor of the 49ers, right? Lamar Jackson went on air and said, I like being the underdog. So here's the thing. I'm not worried about the 49ers containing Lamar Jackson because the pass rush will get there if they decide to throw the ball. But the defensive tackles, Truck pointed out last show on Saturday that the defensive tackles for San Fran are down to their backups. So the push is going to have to come up in the middle. Here's the thing. Odell Beckham has been lighting it up lately. But if you notice, when he's not getting the ball, it's difficult for Lamar to throw to anybody else. Zay Flowers gets the hit or miss plays. Either it's a big play or it's not so big play. Maybe a small play. But the guy, Isaiah Likely, has been fortunate getting jump balls and things of that nature at the tight end position and being the outlet guy. Here's the thing. They just bought up Melvin Gordon. So what that tells me is I know they just lost Mitchell to the MCL or ACL tear, but Melvin Gordon and Gus Edwards are probably going to pound that rock versus the 49ers to set up the one-on-ones that Odell Beckham needs and Lamar needs. And Lamar has looked good in the pocket lately. But this 49ers defense scares me for Lamar. I think somebody's going to hurt him. I really do. I know you're going to talk. Well, I don't know if you're going to talk deeply about the 49ers some more, but they're a powerhouse on the offensive side of the ball and defensive side. I know for a fact, not for a fact, but the Ravens don't have the secondary to cover Ayuk, Deebo, Kittle, and CMC out the backfield. That doesn't include the power run game of San Francisco. Now, I will say this. Queen and Roquan Smith, They're damn good linebackers, and they can probably hold CMC under 100 yards and probably out the end zone. But then you got to worry about everything else. And I'm telling you, the Ravens secondary isn't ready for it. They're
Well,
just not ready for it.
let me put it this way: Will Levis won't play in Week 16, so that means Brian Tannehill is going to be playing.
And I'm about to bet that 250. Soon as we get off.
Kenneth Walker likely to play. Nico Collins likely to play. Zay Jones not likely to play.
There's that rookie Washington.
Yes. And CJ Stroud may return in Week 17 for your fantasy championship.
Well, it's gonna cost. I get $100, so it don't matter.
And, let me put it this way: I could care less about that.
Just send it. Just send it now, since you care less.
Oh no! I'm gonna take it to as far as I can take it. Since you're gonna take and put off paying some of the legit champion.
Hey, he's not gonna. He's not gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
He's not gonna make it.
Let me finish. Don't interrupt me.
Go ahead.
If you're going to put off paying the legit champion because because you're jealous because he'll have won 3 years in a row,
1.5.
Regardless, he still won. I don't care if it's a half or if it's a whole. He still won. And it's the 3rd year in a row, and you're going to put off because you're jealous because he won.
That was a joke.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see how long it takes before he gets paid.
If he keeps talking and running his yap, and he does win, I will do that. I will be petty.
That has nothing to do with it. You just pay the man when if he's a legit champion. When and if, and I say if because anything can happen.
You're right.
And if you looked on my chat,
I did not.
Oh, you didn't look at the chat. You don't look at the chat, and because come on.
Well, let me put it this way. The reason why the delay happened last year is because our championship game, because you weren't there, you were last. Our championship game was in flux because of the rules. Yahoo, ESPN, and things of that nature stated. No, seriously. You just brought it up, and I'm gonna explain it since you brought it up.
Wait a minute. I only brought up a portion of it.
I know. I got to explain it because
not something for you to explain.
Oh no! You're not gonna paint the bad picture that I don't pay out, because that's what you just did. You paint the picture that I don't pay out.
Did you not say that you weren't going to?
Oh my gosh!
Did you not say on the FSP show 1:00 Eastern Standard Time?
Hey, look, Donald Trump. Rudy Giuliani. I need you to stop. Go pay your fine.
Did you not say it? It's on tape. It's not like it's on tape.
You know what? You are definitely Rudy Giuliani trying to misconstrue all of my comments.
No. Is it on tape or not? Did you not say that? Yes, you
I plead the fifth. So
okay.
But let me say why.
Wait a minute.
Why you said that though?
You're pleading the fifth. Okay, I've heard someone plead the fifth 40-something times on the stand. You know who that is?
Hey, but you're my lawyer. You're my lawyer, so who cares? Well, listen. Let me say this real quick. Seriously. Yeah. Last year's payment, because I was in a championship versus the guy that will not be mentioned, and there was a controversy as to because of the DeMar Hamlin situation, right? ESPN, Yahoo, and all the other platforms said they either left it up to the commissioner to do it or extend the season, right? And he got paid a week and a half later because it was still in flux, because we had a game with players that could not play. So that's why it's only half of a championship.
Let me put it this way.
It's just like college. We split the championship.
Wait a minute. Let me put it this way. And this is my opinion. And this is going by the league rules at the time.
Oh my gosh.
The league rule says we go up to a certain point. And
yes.
Wait a minute.
I just said yes.
The league rule stated we go up to a certain week. and after that week, nothing counts.
Yes.
So we went up to that certain week, and the circumstances were not. Let me put it: the circumstances were not something that
They were out of the ordinary. They were out of the
the
ordinary.
circumstances were out of the ordinary, but the league rule said we were up to a certain week, regardless of what happened.
Yeah.
We went up to the certain week, and the cutoff was that week. So if the cutoff that week, we go by whatever took place.
You're right.
Whatever
I'm not.
that week.
I'm not saying that.
Not cry about pushing
Look,
it to another week. Not saying if. It ain't
that's
no
what.
if.
But that's what Yahoo allowed. That's the thing, and it was my rule that I really didn't have to pay him. I could have split it if I wanted to do that.
Well,
but instead,
my
that's your opinion. That is your opinion, and I'm not knocking your opinion. But what I'm telling you is, it was left up to me to decide if I wanted to extend it a week, or did I want to leave it up to the league, which I did. I left it up to the league instead of being the person that says, you know what? Nah, we're gonna take it to the next.
No.
Wait.
The league rule.
It don't matter. No. The league rule got superseded by Yahoo. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Yahoo left it up to the league managers to decide if they wanted to do that. That's what I'm trying to get across to you.
But the league,
it don't matter. It does not
matter.
No, it doesn't.
But the league, yes, it does, because the league, regardless.
Every league had that same situation, Jerry. It just wasn't our league. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That it happened in every league on every platform. I care less if the league. And again, it doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
It was agreed upon
with every league, not just our league. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But I'm not worried about every other league.
Exactly, and neither was I. Neither was I. As the commissioner, it was left up to me to decide how I wanted to handle my championship. I could have split it, or I could have split it. I could have pushed it another week.
I don't care.
Or whatever. But that's what I wanted to do. I left it up to the league members. Instead, I was magnanimous and left it up to the league members instead of doing what I probably should have done, which was no. Don't tell me what I should have done, because again, Yahoo left it up to me. They left it up to me, and
that was a flaw.
I decided. I decided, not anybody else.
But the league is a league, and if the league decided,
are you missing the point? You're missing the point.
I'm not missing the point. If the league had decided in the beginning of the season, we're going up to week 17. That regardless, up to week 17. I don't care what a Yahoo.
Okay, so
wait a minute. Let me finish.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
I don't care what Yahoo said.
Of course,
this is our league. This is our league.
Who is the commissioner? Who's the commissioner?
It doesn't make a difference because
yes, it does. Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. You know why it doesn't? Because you had left it up to the league to make
again. That's right. That's right. You just said exactly the point. The commissioner,
in the beginning of the season.
No, Jerry.
In the beginning of the season,
Jerry,
we left it up to us.
Jerry, the thing is this. That was an abnormal season. Okay. And every platform, this is what you need to listen to instead of trying to stop me.
I'm listening.
Okay, so here's what happened. And every platform, ESPN, Yahoo, all of the platforms, all of them left the decision on how to handle your championship round to the league commissioners, regardless of what was already stated for the season. Because of I don't care if you think it's bull. That's what the platforms did. Now, if I listen to what I'm saying, if I decided to cut it off, anybody complaining about it would have nothing to stand on because the platforms left it up to the commissioners. I, as the commissioner, said, you know what? I won't be a tyrant or anything like that. I'll leave it up to a vote in season, not before the season, in season, which was at the end of the season for the fantasy championship, to decide how to do it. What I could have done, and again, you have to understand this. no matter what you or anybody else thinks, the ruling by the platforms left it to the commissioner. I could have said, you know what? There is no league champion. We will split it and go 50-50. I could have said, no, we add on the additional week, which would have been week 18 for everybody to combine week 17 and 18. Or I could have just said, which I did by the vote, hey, we're going to cancel it. We're going to leave it as is right now. Whatever the score is a score, and that's what it is. That's the option that I allowed to happen. It's not. It has nothing to do with y'all wanted to do.
Wait a minute. Well, then you don't come back and say he won a 1.5. Come on,
yeah,
man.
It was 1.5 because it wasn't. It was not. It was not a full game. It wasn't a full game.
If you went along with the league and cut it off at 17, then that's it.
Yes, because I decided that, not you, not anybody else. Okay. I decided that. Now, here's the deal. I will say this. If I had decided to chop it in the middle, regardless of what anybody said, would you have come back next year or this year? That's a legit question. If I decided to do what Yahoo told me I could do, would you have come back this year?
What? No, let me put it this way.
No, I mean that's a yes or no.
Let me put it this way.
Oh my gosh.
You left it up to the league.
I just asked a question, bro. I know what we did. I'm asking you if I would have taken the option, one of the other options Yahoo gave me, and said either no, there is no champion, and I just split the pot, or I extended an extra week. Would you have come back this year?
Yeah, I would have come back. I mean,
okay, you would have come back, but then you would have been like, well, that's not fair because you chopped it up.
It's not fair.
Again. So again, whether you complain about it or I complain about it, somebody would complain. So you can't say leave it alone, because if I would have did what I wanted to do, I would have had a bunch of disgruntled, angry owners.
But the beginning of the season, let me finish.
Dude,
let me finish.
I'm gonna let you finish, but that don't matter.
And
a guy died on the field, Jerry. That is a dag-on anomaly. That's why it's not a normal regulated rules. That's why the platforms changed it.
The rule is the rule.
Oh my God.
Is the rule.
Exactly. And Yahoo changed it.
When you agreed to when the league agreed to week 17 being a cutoff, and the league agreed to being a cutoff at the end of the season, you don't go back and say it's 1.5. That means the cutoff was the cutoff was the cutoff. And if that's the cutoff,
no, it's not.
Then he won.
Okay. No. It's not, because that's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. You're basing it off of nothing happened.
Your ego, man. It's your ego.
Jerry,
your ego. Whatever. It's your ego, man. It's your ego. Come on.
If it was a regular season, you're basing it off of if it were a regular season and nothing like that happened. That's what you're basing it off of.
You can agree to disagree, but that at the end of the game, who had the most points at the end of the week 17?
If you want to say the most points, I had the most points for the entire year. I could have gone that route.
No.
You just said we had the most points, and that was an option. That was an option. You didn't know this, but that was an option. I could have did it that way.
At the end of the who had the most points in the matchup. That's what I'm talking about.
Again, that's. Listen, you're basing your. You're right, Jerry. The guy got paid out the winner's share. He got paid out the winner's share, and the whole premise of well, you're gonna wait till XYZ. You don't tell the whole story. You only told half, not even a third of the story, because you didn't even know half the story. Okay. So what I'm saying is, don't paint me as a bad guy.
People. Next week is the championship week,
and Jerry's not in it.
No,
Jerry's number 11. Actually, he's number 11 out of 12.
At 11 out of 12. That's right. And I'm not ashamed of it. I'll freely admit it.
Got me up here sweating, knowing my insulin about to run out. You're gonna make me have an attack because I'm using more insulin than I'm supposed to.
Okay, hey, that's on you, brother. You get all yourself. You get yourself
Because
worked up.
you are
get
such.
yourself.
Oh my gosh.
You getting yourself worked up. I'm not getting myself worked up. I
Yeah,
mean,
because you're telling half truths, Rudy Giuliani.
I'm not telling the half truth.
Yeah, you are. You did. I had to explain it.
Let me explain this then, brother. At week 17 last season, your opponent in the championship had
Oh my God.
more points than you. That's the
Because
bottom
3 of
line.
my players couldn't play.
Hey, I can't help that. Oh well.
And we can't help the
Things
fact that the
happen.
dude died on the
Things-
field, and they had to change the rules.
You know what?
The
You
rules
see
had
this?
to be changed.
You see what I'm doing? That's the world's smallest violin. I'm just
Oh my
playing it for you.
God.
I'm playing
Oh
it
my
for you.
God. I'm
Okay?
gonna remember this.
That's
If another issue happened,
let me put it this way.
I'm gonna chop it. Yeah, I'm putting it this way for you. If something like this happens again, I'm going to chop the pot.
Let me tell you something, people.
I'm not gonna let this
I've
happen
always
again.
said this: fantasy football is part skill and a lot of luck. Sometimes the luck goes with you, sometimes it don't. And I've learned since over the years, and I'm surprised Mr. FSP hasn't said this more.
Excuse me.
That you learn to accept your wins and your defeats in the same vein.
Yep.
You win some, you lose some. It's part of fantasy football. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I know Mr. FSP has lost sleep.
No, I have not. No, I have not. Not at all. Only time I lose sleep, I'll be honest with you. Only time I lose sleep over fantasy football when you do crap like this. When you try to paint me as a miser, as somebody who doesn't do everything, When you tell the people half the truth and you don't give them the whole truth. That's the only time. Because that's not a BFF. That's not a BFF. That's why I got a best financial friend.
Bottom line is this, people. when you play the fantasy football season, including the playoffs, and the last game you play you happen to be in a championship, and your opponent gets more points than you, that tells me your opponent wins the championship. And ain't no half. It's a complete championship,
ladies and gentlemen.
In my opinion,
you're right. You are right. I'm glad you said that part. In your opinion,
I had to say, in my opinion,
you don't run the platform.
I'm not trying. I'm not trying to paint a bad picture.
Yeah, you did.
I just said it in my opinion.
I know, but you didn't say in your opinion to begin the conversation. You said I robbed this dude. No. My whole thing was this: the platform. If you run the platform, JT, you can decide what the commissioners can do. If you're a player on a platform, then just be a player.
If your league, and I'll say this again.
Oh my God.
If your league comes to a vote, one way or the other, whether at the beginning of the season, at the end of the season, the commissioner should not override what the league wants.
But Jerry,
that's trying to overturn an election. Come on, man.
Oh no, Jerry, again, you're twisting it. Remember what I said about the second vote? The second vote was because of the death of a player. I did not have to do that, is what I'm telling you. The platform gave me the option of doing that. I could have said, no, I'm going to split it in the middle. That's the whole point of what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just trying to point out what you're saying is inaccurate because you don't know the whole story.
I know.
I had the opportunity. I had the opportunity. No, I had the opportunity to not put it to y'all. I didn't have to let you guys do it.
Let me put it this way, people.
Oh my God.
Let me put it this way, people. And I'm trying to give you kudos here, okay? Just sit back and listen.
Oh my God.
A good commissioner leaves it up to the league of what they want to do. Whether they want to go along and just leave it up to the commission or they wanted to leave it up to the league.
That's your opinion.
I'm giving you good kudos because you left it up to the league. You may not agree with the decision of the league, but I'll give it to you. You left it up to the league, which a good commissioner, in my opinion, would have done.
Well, I'm glad you said in my opinion. I'm glad you finally said in my opinion on that part because
I'm not afraid to say that.
Well, no. I'm saying because you didn't start with that when you just said I'm gonna give you kudos.
I'm trying to end this conversation.
I know,
on a positive note.
I want to end on a positive note as well, and say, circumstance like that happens again, there will be no vote by the league. It will be solely based on the commissioner, which would be me.
Yeah,
because
that's bad.
Because
leave it up to the league.
Because
leave it up to
it takes out a bunch of the what if blah 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 crap and all that. It's a hey, this is fair and equitable for everybody because you didn't lose and you didn't win. That's the whole point.
Well,
if you can't, so wait. Let me finish. Let me finish this because we look at what happened in the NFL. Did Cincinnati win or did Buffalo win that game or did both of them get a no contest?
No contest.
Well, exactly. So I could have done.
That's in real life. That ain't fantasy. That's real life. That ain't fantasy.
But fantasy's based on real life. Fantasy's based on real life. So I could have done that no contest. And that's what I'll do.
People,
if anything like that happens again.
People, obviously, you can see Mr. FSP doesn't want to leave this alone. That's all right. That's okay.
No, I'm gonna leave it alone. Where's Victoria? Where's my best friend Victoria?
Me being gentleman, I let Mr. FSP I gave him his opportunity. I let him voice his opinion because I'm being a gentleman and let him voice his opinion. Even though I may not agree with,
and you took me off the air for like a hot second too.
But I let him voice his opinion. I know people don't want to hear this, but I let Mr. FSP.
They don't want to hear it. Look at him, backhanded comment, backhanded. That's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all really want to see what Jerry's like, check us out on Fantasy Sports Politics Saturday. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m.
Very passionate.
Pacific Time.
Very passionate.
Because this Jerry that y'all see on Sunday is somebody that is, calm, cool, collected, and composed. But on Saturdays, it's
very passionate.
He flips it.
When I disagree, I'll let people know when I disagree.
He tries to take over the show when he doesn't like what he's hearing. That's what he does.
I don't want to take over the show, but
I said you try to. I didn't say you want to. I said you try.
I like to have my opinion expressed.
Oh, and in such a rude way as well. But it's okay.
And everybody has their own opinion and entitled to their own opinion, whether it's being rude or expressing my opinion and standing up for oneself.
Oh my God!
It is what it is.
I hope
10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, people. We will be back to talk about the championship that you've gotten into. Okay? Hopefully, you get Christmas presents today and tomorrow that brings you. What happened, Mr. FSP? He left. Okay. Hopefully, we talk about this, people, and get 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Talk about your championship. With that being said, enjoy your Christmas. Happy holidays. Be well and be healthy, and enjoy the rest of your days.
You sound like Hakuna Matata. Enjoy the rest of your days.
Anyway, it is what it is, people. You see, this is what I get. I'm
saying Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata to you too, man. Okay. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your holidays. Happy holidays, and enjoy your families today and tomorrow. And we'll talk to you next week, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yahoo.
In the new year.
It's not going to be the New Year. It's going to be New Year's Eve.
Oh, yeah, 31st. That's right. It's 31 days. I forgot how many days were in the month. My bad.
Oh, God. You know what? Let me tell you this, people. Let me explain.
I've had a couple traumatic situations happen to me. Forgive me if I forget the days.
Let me explain this to you, people. As you see to my left, Mr. FSP likes to interrupt. I'm trying to end this show, and he keeps interrupting. You know what? When it comes time to close the show, I listen. Okay, let him close the show. If he wants to talk after the show, that's fine. But all he does is this, people. And you see that. Fully exposed. I can understand why he doesn't want to show his face. I can understand that.
Oh, you know what? Just for that, I'm going to give it to you. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. walking around the house with my chest out.
Go back to the other. Please go back to the other.
You know what?
I can't
You know
take
what?
this. I can't take this. Oh my God.
You're lucky I don't got my syringe in my hand.
You look like you just jumped out of the bed. That t-shirt looks worn. That t-shirt looks worn, like you just jumped out of the bed.
Dude, what did I tell you I had to do? You know what?
Anyway.
You know what?
And on Christmas Eve.
It's not Christmas.
People.
It's not Christmas.
It's Christmas Eve. I just said on Christmas Eve, this man gives me the finger. He gives me the, come on. You know, see.
I'll give you what you want, but I'll give you what you want.
And you can tell people, and you can tell that he's in the military. You can tell.
What does that mean?
Just by his attitude and the things that he does.
Aren't you?
That being said, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're out. See you.